Dear students, welcome to one more new video of 10th Standard Social Science. In this video, let us see second part of History Important Questions. First question: the economic changes of the time were responsible for 1857 revolt. How? Indian handicrafts and cottage industry suffered due to industrial revolution. The Indian craftsmen became unemployed. The textile and wool industries became sick and people lost their jobs. The cottage industries too suffered a death blow. The British imposed a heavy tax on sale of Indian goods in England. The landlords exploited the farmers. The right given to the taluks to collect tax was withdrawn. An Nizam Commission was appointed and all the gifted lands were taken back. The farmers felt insulted and experienced many financial problems. This too led to the revolt of farmers against the government. Make a list of the reasons for the failure of the revolt. The movement did not spread to the whole country. This struggle was intended to protect the interests of a few rather than getting freedom for the country. Instead of being an organized struggle, it erupted due to certain unexpected reasons. The unity among the British forces and lack of it among the Indian soldiers. There was no proper direction or proper leadership. There was a lack of effective leadership and discipline. Many provincial kings did not support the struggle. The people lost confidence in the soldiers due to their arson and looting. What were the political reasons of 1857 revolt? Due to the Doctrine of Lapse, many Indian kings had to lose their kingdoms. Satara, Jaipur, Jhansi, Udaipur became part of the British Empire. Dalhousie abolished the kingship of Tanjavur and Carnatic Nawabs. The British dethroned Mughal kings. As a result, many soldiers depended on these kings became unemployed. What were the administrative reasons of 1857 revolt? The British brought in many civil and criminal laws into effect, but in the implementation there were lot of partiality. Laws applied to Indians in a different manner. English became the language of the court. The English judges gave judgment in favor of the English. People did not like the new laws. Explain the results of the First War of Indian Independence. The governance of East India Company came to an end. The governance of British government started. The administration of India was handed over to Secretary of Indian Affairs. The Queen of Britain passed a declaration. The agreements entered by the company were accepted. Non-pursuance of regional expansion, providing a stable government for Indians, equality before the law, non-interference of the government in religious issues of Indians, and practicing religious tolerance. Explain the role of Balagangadhar Tilak in the freedom struggle. Tilak declared, "Swaraj is my birthright and I will get it at any cost." An independent India was his aim. He started preparing the common people for freedom struggle through religious functions. He started organizing people. Kesari and Maratha newspapers were started. He called for the active participation in the fight for freedom. He was imprisoned for his revolutionary articles. He wrote Gita Rahasya in the jail. Give an account of the achievements of Subhash Chandra Bose in the independence struggle. He became popular as Netaji. He engaged himself in organizing the Indians residing outside India. He toured many cities like Vienna, Berlin, Rome, Istanbul. He founded the Congress Socialist Party. He became the president of Haripur Convention of Indian National Congress. He quit Congress and founded Forward Bloc. He opposed the British war preparation. The British government put him under house arrest. He escaped from the house arrest and reached Germany. He organized the prisoners of war from India. He broadcasted his speeches over Azad Hind Radio. He became the head of Indian National Army. He called for Delhi Chalo on this occasion. He died in airplane crash. Describe the tribal revolts in the Indian freedom struggle. The Tax and Forest Act provoked the tribal revolt. The Santalas revolt and Munda movement are prominent. Halagali Hunters rebellion in Karnataka. The Santala rebellion revolt can be termed India's first movement. Santala tribals lived in Bengal and Orissa hillocks. Their lands went to the landlords. The company exploited the decency and peace-loving attitude of the Santalas. Enraged by this, the Santalas held secret meetings and decided to loot the landlords. The agitation became intense in Barahat area and Bhagatpur and Rajmahal. The rioters killed their enemies. The government used the army to stem the revolt and was successful. Who were moderate leaders? Explain their method of struggle. Traditionally, the first years of the beginning of Congress are called modern age. M.G. Ranade, Surendranath Banerjee, Dadabhai Nauroji, Gopalakrishna Gokhale were prominent leaders. They trusted the British administration and their impartiality. They used to place their requests and appeals before the government within the constitutional framework. They taught people about political situations. They conducted meetings, discussed problems, and placed before the government. Explain the method of struggle of extremists. They called the moderates as political beggars. They criticized the moderate thinking and propagated extremist ideas. Arvind Ghosh, Lala Lajpat Rai, Bipin Chandra Pal and Bala Gangadhar Tilak were the extremist leaders. Extremists maintained that good administration cannot be a substitute for independence. Tilak declared, Swaraj is my birthright, I will get it any cost. An independent India was the aim of extremists. They started preparing the common people for freedom struggle. Through religious functions, they started organizing people. Tilak utilized his Kesari and Maratha newspaper for freedom struggle. Explain the role of revolutionaries in freedom struggle. The revolutionaries dreamt of a totally free India. They strongly believed in violent means. They started establishing their secret branches in India and abroad, Anushilana Samiti and Abhinava Bharata. They used bombs and firearms to achieve their objectives. The government tried their best to suppress them. The revolutionaries were arrested for murder attempts. They were declared guilty and given life imprisonment. Describe the achievements of Guidin Liu. Guidin Liu joined Jodonang to fight the British. She joined the Harakka religious movement. She took charge of the army against the British. In just 8 months, the British were taken aback. She fought on the lines of guerrilla warfare. The entire villages of Northeast cooperated. Thousands of people joined her army. Some of the traitors gave information about her to the British. MacDonald got information from Dr. Harallu and imprisoned her. She was in jail till India became free. What were the major programs of non-cooperation movement? Gandhiji gave a call for non-cooperation movement against the British. Students supported his call by abstaining from schools and colleges. Lawyers remained away from courts. Indian dignitaries returned all the awards given by the British. Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das sacrificed their law careers. During this period, there was a stiff opposition to the visit of the British Prince. There were widespread agitations against the visit throughout the country. Explain the Quit India movement. The suggestions of Kripps Commission were not acceptable to Congress. The Congress started the Quit India movement. Gandhiji gave a call to the Indians to do or die. Many leaders like Gandhiji, Nehru and others were imprisoned. Organizations other than the Congress came into the limelight. This movement paved the way for the emergence of new leaders. Explain the farmers' protests in India's freedom struggle. During the British rule, farmers revolted against landlords and European planters. They refused to grow indigo in Champaranya district. They staged agitations against land tax. The farmers of Tebag, Malabar, etc. rose in revolt against landlords. Many protests were organized under the banner of Kisan Sabha. The Telangana farmers challenged the Andhra Reddy landlords and the Nizam's Razaks. Bengali farmers revolted against the exploitation by landlords. In Maharashtra, the farmers protested against low wages. Explain the labourers' revolt in India's freedom struggle. The labour movement started in Calcutta. People started getting organized to fight for their rights in jute and textile industries and the railways. The railway porters staged agitation in railway stations. The Printers Union of Calcutta and the Bombay textile workers created national awareness. The Madras Labour Union was established. Subsequently, many labour unions were born. The Congress supported these movements of the labour organizations. Explain the contributions of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. He strongly believed that political independence was meaningless without social independence. He carried out a study of the caste system. He started Mahat and Kalaram temple movements. He attended the 3 roundtable conferences. He established Bahishkruta Hitakarini Sabha, Swatantra Karmika Party and Republican Party of India. He published Prabuddha Bharata, Janata, Mukanayaka and Bahishkrita Bharata. He stayed away from communist and socialist approaches and worked towards progress of agricultural laborers. He was chosen as the chairman of the Constitution Draft Committee. He advocated equality in the Constitution and gave legal protection against practice of untouchability after independence. He became the law minister. Describe the contributions of Jawaharlal Nehru to the country as Prime Minister. We see Prime Minister Nehru as the architect of industrialization and modern India. He also supervised to bring together all the princely states and merge them with the Union of India. He laid the foundation for Indian democracy by reorganizing all the states on the basis of language. A mixed economic system of both capitalism and socialism was his contribution to modern India. He believed that growth was possible through intense industrialization. He was the pioneer who envisaged the development of India through 5-year plans. He advocated non-alignment policy on the basis of Panchashila principles. He remained away from power politics. What were the problems faced by India after independence? The country was burnt in communal fire. The integration of princely states, partition had damaged the economic system of India deeply. India had a challenge of creating its own constitution. India had to protect its freedom. That was after years struggle from its enemies. There was a need to strengthen the social fabric to establish social equality. How did the country deal with the problem of refugees? The problem of refugees was one of the worst problems resulting from the partition of India. Due to the division, people had to migrate from Pakistan to India, leaving their homes, familiar environment, property, etc., and go to a new place. The burden of providing shelter, employment, land, education fell on the government. Many efforts went into this process of rehabilitation. How was Goa liberated from the Portuguese? Goa was under the imperialist rule of Portugal with India. The Portuguese brought in additional troops from Africa and Europe. Satyagrahis from different parts of India gathered at Goa and began a liberation movement. The Indian army intervened and took Goa under its control. Goa, which remained a union territory till 1987, became a state later on. How did Junagadh join the Union of India? The king of Junagadh wanted to merge his province with Pakistan. People came on to streets against the king. Unable to face the people, the king fled the kingdom. Based on the request made by the Diwan of the province to the Indian government, the army was sent to Junagadh to establish peace. Junagadh was merged with India in 1949. How did Hyderabad state join the Union of India? Hyderabad was under the Nizam's rule. With the intention of remaining independent, the Nizam refused to join the Union of India. At this time, an armed struggle of the farmers of Telangana under the leadership of communists was underway. There was a severe hatred against Razakar, the cruel army of the Nizam. The Indian government sent an army and defeated the Nizam. The integration of Jammu and Kashmir with India is unique compared to that of other provinces. How? King Harisingh of Jammu and Kashmir wanted to be independent. Pakistan incited the tribals of Jammu and Kashmir Valley. The National Conference of Sheikh Abdullah decided to merge with India. Harisingh requested for help from the Indian government. Jammu and Kashmir merged with India with certain conditions. One part of Kashmir remained with Pakistan. The Indian government complained to the United Nations organizations against this. The UNO ordered a ceasefire. Nazi ideology destroyed Germany. Justify this statement. The best race in the world is the Aryan race. Only Germans are eligible to rule the world. All other communities are eligible only to be ruled. Jews are responsible for all the problems of Germans. In addition to Jews, communists, Catholics, and socialists are also responsible. This sort of intense nationalism was put into practice in the cruelest manner. Hitler appointed a special minister called Goebbels. He organized an outfit called Brown Shirts. What were the causes for World War II? The Great Depression. The lifestyle of people deteriorated to a pitiable extent. Industrial and agricultural production came to be standstill. Unemployment reached a dangerous proportion. Humiliating treaties and enormous economic loss developed intense nationalistic awareness in many countries. In Germany and other European nations, industrialists donated huge amounts to propagate nationalism. Peoples like Hitler in Germany and Mussolini in Italy came to power. In East Asia, Japan, with an intention to expand its empire, was attacking Chinese territories. What were the causes for the First World War? The conflict to gain control over the colonies, industrial revolution, and new inventions, rivalry among European countries with regard to capturing markets and the resources, boundary disputes of many countries, extreme militarization, many alliance pacts were formed, extreme nationalism, the assassination of the Austrian Prince Archduke Francis Ferdinand. Explain the effects of the First World War. Versailles Treaty, Austria-Hungary and the Ottoman kingdoms lost their identity. Germany lost most of its area. The map of Europe changed drastically. Many small independent nations came into being. The League of Nations was established. It gave rise to aggressive nationalism. Unemployment, poverty, and slump in development led to widespread dissatisfaction. It led to the growth of a dictator like Hitler. The weapons manufacturers and arms traders made enormous gains. What were the main features of fascism? Intense nationalistic attitude, destruction of enemies, glorification of violence, racial supremacy, imperialist expansion, support to massacres. Explain the effects of the Second World War. It witnessed the maximum deaths and injuries. It caused pronounced social and political changes in the entire world. The United Nations organization replaced the League of Nations. Russia and USA became the most aggressive countries. This paved the way for beginning of a Cold War. Asian and African nations were benefited. Britain, France and many other nations lost many colonial establishments. It led to a severe competition of atomic weapons. Explain the role of Mysore in First World War. Maharaja Krishnaraj Vadier IV wrote a letter to Viceroy that he will help the British at this crucial time of war. He contributed 50 lakhs of rupees from Mysore state. The Mysore Lancers regiment were made ready to move to Egypt for war in support of Britain. Regimented R.B. Chamaraj Aras was sent with Mysore Lancers to the battlefield. Colonel J. Desiraja Aras was sent to the battlefield as Maharaja's representative. Mysore Lancers, consisting of officers, non-commissioned officers and men with horses, mules and followers, left Bangalore to take part in the war.